大家好，我是秦苏珊律师。那今天的话呢，我会跟我的团队律师去讨论一下，最近就是美国总统命令在执行一个叫 Operation at Large， 就是这样的一个抓人行动。那大家现在在洛杉矶这边都搞得人心惶惶，大家都不敢出门呢。最近好多人被抓，就比方说从家里到车子的这个距离，然后就有 FBI 有 DEA， 然后有ICE 过来把他们给抓走了。那就光上周的话，我们就有10几个人过来咨询，爸爸被抓了，妈妈被抓了，儿子被抓了，或者老婆被抓，或朋友被抓，大家都被抓，搞得人心惶惶。那现在到底是怎么回事呢？所以我会跟我们的团队跟大家去普及一下这个法律知识。So recently, there's a lot of people getting arrested in the Los Angeles area. So last week and this week alone, we had at least 30 calls. The husband get arrested, wife, mom, daughter. So I asked them, I said, where did they get arrested? They said, well, usually it's outside of my house. Like this lady, she came to my office crying. She said, my husband was arrested yesterday morning. He got out of the house at 7:40, walking toward the car. When the husband got to the car, several FBI people approached them and said, are you so and so? And he said yes. And then immediately the FBI put a handcuff on him and arrested him. When the wife came to me and said FBI arrested him, I'm like, okay, well, this must be a federal crime or something. But it turns out it was not a federal crime, but it was because he had a criminal charge. It was a state criminal charge. And then ICE arrested him. And now he's sitting at the Atlanta detention center. So Judge Hum, this is kind of scary, with the operation at large. And then, the U.S. Marines and the DHS, DOJ, FBI, DEA, everybody is involved. It's a big operation. So what is going on?
This is all in compliance with President Trump's desire to deport as many people as he can to satisfy his political base. And understand that this operation at large is only in sanctuary cities. He's not doing this in the red states with regard to enforcement of the immigration policy. And understand it's also an immigration issue, which is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. So it's easier for the government to arrest and detain these people as a violation of an immigration provision. They don't have to respect the niceties of the Constitution with regard to criminal matters that may come under their jurisdiction for committing a crime or in violating the law, other than just advising these people that they're being taken into custody because of their immigration violation. So the operation at large, as I say, is an attempt by the president to attack the sanctuary cities policies, and in terms of trying to deport as many people as he says he's going to for the upcoming political midterm elections to satisfy his base. So on Tuesday, when I was at the immigration court at 26 Federal Plaza, I did see on the floor where the courts are holding hearings that there are FBI, DEA agents, ICE agents, Homeland Security investigation people taking people into custody after their immigration cases was dismissed by the immigration judge. And I recently heard from a colleague of mine that gave a news interview indicating that he was instructed, or that immigration judges were instructed, to follow the orders of the Department of Justice to dismiss these cases. In other words, dictating the outcome of a particular case. So this policy is wide-ranging, and it's being enforced, as I say, against the sanctuary cities to create more chaos in terms of the immigrant community.
So Craig, you used to work for the FBI. I wonder, when is it a waste of resource to have FBI, DEA, AMO, Air and Marine Service, or the Coast Guard, all the departments to join for the operation at large? So what about people like the drug dealers, the money launderers, all those big crimes? So if they're using the FBI, DEA, AMO, or Coast Guard, and everybody else, or DOJ, to assist in this operation, then who's going to be chasing after the criminals?
Yeah, and I've talked to my friends who are still at the FBI, and they are told to drop investigating serious cases to assist ICE in conducting raids. And the agents are not happy about that because, these important investigations are taking a back seat for political random raids, on communities that are separating families and not targeting actual criminals. So it is really disgraceful what's going on, that these serious crimes are being neglected for political purposes. And unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets any better. The ICE is now going to get a budget larger than most militaries. So they're going to build more detention facilities. So they're going to look to fill these detention facilities, and they want to be able to satisfy their statistics by doing more arrests and detaining more individuals. So unfortunately, I'm very concerned, about the direction the federal law enforcement is taking. I know the rank and file members of law enforcement are not happy about this, but unfortunately, there's very little they could do because this administration is very punitive against anyone who opposes them. They're not afraid to fire people or to publicly attack people who don't fall in line with this administration's policies of arresting any undocumented immigrant. So I'm seriously concerned, the future is going to be under the remaining time under this administration. The only hope that I see in the near future is if the Democrats retake the House of Representatives in the midterm elections, which I think could be very possible, which then could slow down a lot of efforts that this administration is doing. But until then, I caution everyone in the community that this administration's priorities is to label anyone who entered the country illegally as a criminal, to detain them, and to deport them.
So Judge Hom, you used to be an immigration judge. I saw on the news that a lot of immigration judges were fired under the Trump administration. He puts a lot of fears among the judges. Like last week, I had a bond hearing, and I can see that this particular immigration judge was under a lot of pressure from the government attorney. And it was the first time I actually saw the U.S. Marshals and the ICE that were, their presence in the courtroom to put pressure on the judge to make a decision. So, in that afternoon, there were 20-some cases on the docket. Only 3 cases that the judge granted a bond, and, a good majority of the cases were denied. So the judge was under a lot of pressure, was very cautious. So you were a judge. Like right now, what should our clients do to protect themselves? Like right now, the cases are moving pretty fast. Is there any way or any advice that you would give to all the immigrants?
Well, I mean, the primary advice is that they should contact and retain the services of an experienced immigration attorney, such as our firm. But there are things that they can do during this time of chaos and this time of loyalty to the president in terms of enforcing immigration as to mollify his MAGA base. There are certain things, and the firm has sent out these things to our clients, advising them what they can do if they're confronted by any law enforcement people that begin asking them questions concerning their status. So that's the other thing. There are certain things that can be done. I know it's a scary type of situation when somebody's confronted with the possibility of being taken into custody, but there are certain things that they should and should be aware of and that they can do to minimize the impact of this. The other thing, in court, as I say, they should have the services of an experienced immigration counsel to help them, especially in a bond proceeding. There are things that can be done through the legal system and through representation that can help. One of the things I'm working on now is a memorandum concerning the eligibility for bond, even for people under 235, which, as we know, the judges have not been granting bond release for these individuals. Primary thing, get a good immigration lawyer.
Okay. So Craig, you used to work for the FBI. So clients ask me, say, hey, if I get stopped by the FBI or DEA or ICE outside of my door, and so can I just ignore them and walk away? So in this kind of situation, can this person walk away?
Yeah, I mean, especially if they come to your home, you don't have to let them in. You don't have to answer any questions. But if you are detained, look, you can just say, look, I want to consult with my attorney first, represented by an attorney, and then just refuse to answer any questions. And they can ask for your identification and but the important thing is just to be respectful and and polite. You don't want to escalate it. You don't want to be confrontational because that's just going to make matters worse. But you don't have to answer any questions. They may try to pretend to be your friend and say they're trying to help you, but you're under no obligation to talk to law enforcement. But if they do, if they pull you over while you're driving, you are obligated to provide identification in those circumstances. But if you are just minding your business on the street, then you don't have to cooperate with them. But just say I have retained counsel, and under advice of counsel I can't answer any questions.
Right. It just seems like a lot of people are getting arrested, not in the house. I guess ICE is waiting for them to get out of their house. They're in the parking lot, or outside of the supermarket, or in the public places. So that's why, people are asking, should they answer, ICE's question at all, or just keep on walking? Or, let's say if they ignore ICE, if ICE arrested them, is that legal in the United States?
Look, I mean, if ICE arrests you and then, again, don't sign anything, again, you don't have to talk with them, but, you just have, you have to follow their commands. Like, if they arrest you, we can fight the arrest and the charges after that. But, I wouldn't resist arrest if ICE is making an actual arrest. But again, you don't have to provide them with any information. If you're not committing any crime, if you're just walking the street, if they're just profiling you, you can just respectfully decline. And I've heard stories of people who did provide documentation showing that they are U.S. citizens, but ICE agents are saying, well, that's fake, and and still arrest the person anyways. But the important thing is, if you are arrested, it's important that you retain an attorney so you can fight the charges.
Right. So Judge Hum, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's good advice. You can ignore them, walk away. You don't have to answer any of their questions. And you can tell them that you're being represented by counsel. If they have any questions, they call counsel. So that's the best advice. Get competent immigration counsel for your immigration case to help you and to guide you with respect to these troubling times. As I indicated in our prior discussions, we have a handout that we give to our clients, and also something that they can print up and keep on their person to give to the arresting officer, whether it's FBI or ICE or HSI or Treasury or IRS, whomever, that you are remaining silent under advice of counsel, and that you are refusing to answer any of their questions. So you don't even have to speak to them. You just have to give them the card.
OK， so 那刚才呢，我跟我们的律师团队就是讨论了一下，叫 Operation at Large， 就是最近美国的这个在洛杉矶执行的抓人计划。那现在呢，很多人都被抓了，那被抓都不是在家里，并且呢，现在是调动了 FBI、DEA、US Coast Guard， 然后整个部门就是各个部门都加入了。那在这种情况下的话，比方说你从你家里出来，走到你的车子里面，在那个 parking lot， 也就停车场，然后呢，那比方说 FBI 的人或者是说 DEA 的人过来，把你就是问你是不是叫什么名字，那你其实可以拒绝去回答他的问题。然后呢，我们秦苏珊律师楼会，就是我接下来会发朋友圈或者在各种社交平台，我会发一个卡片，这个卡片会告诉你，就是说如果有任何一个政府部门的人来问你叫什么名字，你可以拒绝回答问题，并且把这张卡片给他，你可以不说任何的话，然后你就继续走，就是离开。但如果说他真的要抓你的话呢，那你是不能拒绝，就是被逮捕的，否则的话他会给你另外一条罪名，就是说你拒绝逮捕。如果说你现在的话呢是有递解令，或者说你觉得你有可能被抓，那请就是收看我们的频道，然后呢我会在今天把这个卡片在各个媒体发出去，然后请大家收藏好这个名片。那这个名片上面有所有的就是拒绝逮捕的这个信息。那如果说有任何一个部门 ICE 也好 FBI 也好 DEA 等等，你可以把这个名片给他们，好吗？感谢收看秦苏珊律师楼的这个频道。